Hi, my name is Silvia Jestrovic and I teach the third year 15 CAT module, The Author Dies Hard. This module uses as its point of departure a famous essay by a French philosopher named Roland Barthes. The essay was written in the late 1960s with quite a revolutionary title called The Death of the Author. This module investigates the death of the author, artist, maker in several ways. Asking, how does an author, an artist become artistic material for the other author or artist? How do artists and authors speak to the dead in that sense? How does an author become an intertextual metaphor? We will look at the range of plays to answer some of these questions, including Marina Carr's biographical play about Chekhov called 16 Possible Glimpses, and another play that deals with Chekhov and performance. It's the Dead Center's Chekhov's first play, which is a wild deconstruction of both Chekhov and, spoiler alert, of the role of a director in theater as well. We will also ask, are all authors born equal? And could they all die equal? So, can a female author or a marginalized author die the same death as the Western canonical author, for example? We will look at Amy Cesar's version of The Bard's Tempest. And Amy Cesar's Tempest is called A Tempest. So how the author speaks back from a colonial and post-colonial context to the canonical author. We will also ask about both the responsibility of the author, artist, and the responsibility of the reader, audience. We will ask what happens if the author is a really problematic figure? What if the author is a really nasty piece of work? And I cannot think of a better example than Tim Crouch's play, The Author, to tackle these questions. But also, what happens to the notion of the death of the author in situations where the author is silenced, marginalized, even imprisoned, censored? So is this also a form of a death of the author? And what is our responsibility to tackle these forms? So we will, in this module, look at various ways in which the author is present and absent in text and performance. How are we going to do that? A typical seminar, a typical class would include perhaps a mini lecture, a seminar discussion, but also various forms of workshops. In some of these workshops, we will again be asked to deal with certain questions, to talk about them. But in some of them, we will also be asked to try to speak to some of these questions through practice. So we will use a combination of discourse, theory, conversation, lecture, but also trying to see how can we stage these various forms of presence and absence of the author in text and performance. To mirror, actually, the assessment will mirror this structure. And there are two components. One component is the portfolio. The portfolio will have two items. One will be your analysis, your reflection of a play or performance or artwork or film that in your view speaks very well to some of the questions raised in the module. The other item would be your reflection of a theoretical work, an essay, a book chapter, for example, that again might speak very well to some of the topics raised in the module. The other assessment component will be a practical exam or practical assessment, so to speak, where you could respond to some of the questions, some of the queries, some of the topics we have dealt with in this module through performance. So through various forms, from a performative lecture to installation to performance itself, or by writing your own play featuring a dead author of some sort. So I hope to see some of you next year, next school year, so we can engage together with the question, why does the author die hard?